Chair, would you like to proceed?
Yes, please. Yes,
Good
please.
evening. This is a meeting of. Good evening. This is a meeting of Borough of Highlands Mayor and Council regular meeting on Wednesday, March 2nd, 2022. The notice requirements provided for in the Open Public Meetings Act has been satisfied. Notice of this meeting was properly given by transmission to the Asbury Park Press and the Two River Times, and by posting at the Borough of Highlands Municipal Building and filing with the Borough Clerk, all on January 1st, 2022. Items listed on the agenda are subject to change. I will now do roll call. Councilmember Cervantes. Councilmember Schlatt. Here. Councilmember Melnick. Council President Olszewski. Mayor Beyond. Here. We have a quorum. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And that's everyone remains standing, and we have a moment of silence for the folks who are in Ukraine.
First we have proclamations.
This is a proclamation in support of the people of Ukraine. Whereas the territory of modern Ukraine has a vast history and has been inhabited since 32,000 BC. In the Middle Ages, the area was key to Eastern Slavic culture. Ukraine was part of the Soviet Union from 1922 to 1991 when it gained its independence. And whereas on February 24th of 2022, Russian forces invaded Ukraine after years of conflict, this unprovoked attack on the sovereignty of this nation has garnered international outcry and condemnation that is shared by this Borough Council. And whereas Mr. Larry Chessel, Highlands resident and First Aid Squad volunteer member, identified a town in Ukraine that shares Highlands zip code. Whereas the town of Kudynevka in Ukraine, 07732, is a suburb of the capital city of Kyiv, and is located at coordinates that is listed on the proclamation, as well as a link to it on Google Maps. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Highlands, the people of Ukraine have the unwavering support of the people of Highlands, New Jersey. And be it further proclaimed that the town of Kudynevka, Ukraine, is hereby adopted as a sister city to Highlands, New Jersey. Earlier today, our clerk, Nancy Tram, went through with some paperwork to make that an official adoption of a sister city. Absolutely, please do.
My husband is Ukrainian, and he's been involved, very involved in getting humanitarian aid to the people. I have friends that have family members there. I just want to thank Mr. Chessel and the town for this proclamation. I will share it with all my Ukrainian friends and organizations that I belong to. It's just very much appreciated, and I hope that perhaps in the near future we can have a presentation of the Ukrainian culture. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Next week for approval of minutes. At this time, we have February 16th, 2022 meeting minutes.
I'll offer it.
I'll second.
Councilmember Cervantes.
Yes.
Councilmember Chilak.
Yes.
Councilmember Melnick. Council President Olszewski.
Yes.
Mayor Breon.
Yes.
Motion carries to approve February 16, 2022 meeting minutes. Next, we have public hearing on proposed ordinance. O-22-05, ordinance designating restricted parking in front of a residence occupied by persons with disabilities.
I'll open up for public comments on this ordinance. For restricted parking for a person with disabilities. Does anyone have any comments on this ordinance? Seeing none, I will close public portion. And I will offer this ordinance.
I'll second.
Councilmember Cervantes. Councilmember Chapman.
Yes.
Councilmember Melnick.
Yes.
Council President Olszewski.
Yes.
Mayor Breon.
Yes.
Motion carries to pass ordinance O-22-05 on second and final reading. Next, we have resolutions. First up is R-22-072, authorizing submission of strategic plan for municipal alliance grant for fiscal year 2023.
I'll offer that.
Second.
Councilmember Cervantes.
Yes.
Councilmember Challenge.
Yes.
Councilmember Melnick. Council President Olszewski.
Yes.
Mayor Breon.
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt resolution 22-072. Next, we have R-22-073, approving plant sale at Heidi Park.
I'll offer it.
Second.
Councilmember Cervantes.
Yes.
Councilmember Challenge.
Yes.
Councilmember Melnick.
Yes.
Council President Olszewski.
Yes.
Mayor Breon.
Yes.
Next, we have R-22-074, resolution certifying and approving 2021 LoSAP contributions.
I'll offer it.
I will second.
Councilmember Cervantes.
Yes.
Councilmember Challenge.
Yes.
Councilmember Melnick.
Yes.
Council President Olszewski.
Yes.
Mayor Breon.
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt resolution 22-074. Next, we have R-22-075, resolution rejecting bid for the Snug Harbor Improvement Project.
Before we vote on this, I just wanted to explain it for everyone. Usually when we go out to bid, before we go out to bid on a project, engineering comes up with a cost estimate for it. All of the costs that came in at the bidding process were by far over what engineering's estimates were. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the bid itself and probably maybe take some stuff out, change some stuff around, see what our DPW department can do on its own to help lower these costs, and then we'll go back out to bid on that. So it's not that the project is going away, we're just going to change the scope of the bid to make it more affordable. And with that, I will offer.
I'll second.
Councilmember Cervantes.
Yes.
Councilmember Challenge.
Yes.
Councilmember Melnick.
Yes.
Council President Olszewski.
Yes.
Mayor Breon.
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt resolution 22-075. Next, we have resolution 22-076, resolution authorizing the award of non-fair and open contract for professional engineering services in connection with the Snug Harbor Skate Park project.
I'll offer it.
Second.
Councilmember Cervantes. Councilmember Challenge.
Yes.
Councilmember Melnick.
Yes.
Council President Olszewski.
Yes.
Mayor Breon.
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt resolution 22-076. Next, we have R-22-077, resolution authorizing the application of the NJ Clean Energy Program, Community Energy Planning Grant Program.
I'll offer it.
I'll second.
Councilmember Cervantes.
Yes.
Councilmember Chilak.
Yes.
Councilmember Melnick.
Yes.
Council President Olszewski.
Yes.
Mayor Breon.
Yes, and just to further expand on this, this is a grant that will help us strategically look at clean energy in the future, whether that be solar panels, EV chargers, all sorts of different things that are coming up. And this would just help us to plan for it appropriately. And yes.
Motion carries to adopt. Resolution 22077. Next, we have resolution 2278. Resolution authorizing the application of the U.S. Department of Defense Readiness and Environmental Protection Integration, also known as VEPI, grant program.
Now,
Wonderful.
I'll second.
Councilmember Savantes. Councilmember Chott.
Yes.
Councilmember Melnick.
Yes.
Council President Rashevsky.
Yes.
Mayor Brian.
Yes, and again, this is the program that we're looking to upgrade Veterans Park with a living shoreline and a bulkhead. This is a very competitive grant program. Only 40 submissions were done in the entire country, and only 20 were approved at the pre-application phase, and we were one of the 20. So we're working in conjunction with Monmouth University and Township of Aberdeen in order to try and get this grant. And yes.
Motion carries to adopt resolution 22078. Next, we have R 22079, resolution to support preservation of SH 600/Sandmass House.
And this is the historical Sandwich House that is on Sandy Hook, and we are supporting its preservation and trying to stop its destruction. And with that, I will offer this.
I'll second.
Councilmember Savantes. Councilmember Chott.
Yes.
Councilmember Melnick.
Yes.
Council President Rashevsky. Mayor Brian.
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt resolution 22079. Next, we have resolution 22080. Resolution authorizing shared service agreements between the Borough of Highlands and the Borough of Seabright for street-sweeping services.
I'll second.
Councilmember Savantes. Councilmember Chott.
Yes.
Councilmember Melnick.
Yes.
Council President Rashevsky. Mayor Brian.
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt resolution 22080. Next, we have R 2281, resolution authorizing payment of bills.
I'll offer it. I will second.
Councilmember Savantes.
Yes.
Councilmember Chott.
Yes.
Councilmember Melnick.
Yes.
Council President Rashevsky.
Yes.
Mayor Brian.
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt resolution 22081. Next, we have resolution 22082, resolution referring the revised proposed redevelopment plan for the Central Business District redevelopment area to the Land Use Board of the Borough for reconsideration.
I'll offer it.
Second.
Councilmember Savantes. Councilmember Chott. Councilmember Melnick.
Yes.
Council President Rashevsky.
Yes.
Mayor Brian. Motion carries to adopt resolution 22082. Next, we have other business. Gaming tables.
This is something that the Superintendent of Public Works asked that we discuss, and it's been made mention through both Open Space and the Garden Club to add some gaming tables to Veterans Park, and there is a link to a company that furnishes their stone tables, and they have inlays with checkers or chess or backgammon or whatever you want on them. And I don't know if everyone's had time to look through them. If you have thoughts as to whether you want more than checkers and chess, if people are still playing backgammon out there, just other things that can engage folks while they're out enjoying our parks.
Not seeing too many backgammon players.
Yeah, I'm not seeing too many of them either. But even if they're not playing backgammon, it could still be a nice, informal, while they're playing checkers, just they could eat their, eat a picnic or something like that.
They can bring a board game. If they have an odd board game, they might like to.
So I would, looking at the different varieties they have out here, they've got some benches that have two types of, things going on, others that just have one. Is there any thought as to what would be the best fit for our towns and have chess tournaments, happening, maybe we can make it a thing?
We could reach out to the schools too, to see if there's interest, if there's, that's outdoor.
Sure.
During the state as well.
It's awful. It's funny to mention, it's really gonna fit. Cool.
All right, so something that we can, just keep in back of our, there's also other things that they have out there that are made of concrete, and it's, cornhole, ping pong, ladder toss, just different things that we can possibly put into the parks that would help engage people, and give people different options, because everybody likes options. I'd be the only one that has the space, but, I actually should be looking all over. Anyone else have any other comments?
Next, we have reports. First up, we have Mayor's, February 2022 report.
Okay, some construction updates. North Street pump upgrades began on, January 14th, and then we had weather, so it got delayed. As of 2/28, when I went out there, new piles were driven, a portion of the bulkhead was repaired. The platform and electric shed is partially built, it's not finished yet. New HDPE piping has been installed. We are waiting on a new electric panel because it is on back order, so it should be here May or June. Honey Park surfacing, that was completed. In February, Snug Harbor Park, as we mentioned, we are going, back to the bidding process for that. For Barbary, we're at dead ends by Shore Drive. Those improvements are, slated to start in March. The company that was awarded the project, Compass Construction, should be starting this month. Also to start this month is looking at, the Matthews and King Street improvements, which include $165,000 in, 2021 New Jersey DOT, municipal aid, and that's for the reconstruction of the street, including curb and sidewalk repair, replacement of the sanitary sewer system, and stormwater upgrades. Also is, South Bay and Hillside Ave. We are looking to move forward on that, and those upgrades include, sanitary sewer, storm sewer, concrete improvements, and repaving. That also got a DOT municipal grant in the amount of $212,800. The bid opening for the municipal building got pushed back yet again. Had over 44 construction companies ask for bid packets, so there are quite a few people interested, which we should hope we will be getting some good pricing from that. And tomorrow, on the 3rd, is the bid opening for the large sanitary sewer project for the Waterwitch area. So hopefully we'll get some good costs on that as well. For grants awarded, we received the, and I know this is crazy that it's 10 years later, but this is how this grant works. It's fiscal year 2019 recycling tonnage grant that just came in for a little bit over $13,600. For a COVID update, in February, we had 12 new cases, which was a significantly lower number than January's 165 cases. Total cases on February 28th were 690. There will be a vaccine clinic here at the community center on March 9th. Testing was daily in February at the community center. However, we get together a large number. So now in March, it will just be on Mondays from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. And that's about it for my report.
All right, thank you so much. As pretty much everyone knows, I was out for most of the month of February. I had to get some back surgery. So I'd like to thank all the employees and governing body members, especially Spencer Carpenter for stepping in and acting on my behalf while I was out. Just a few things. I had a meeting with OEM and the fire department about capital purchases that they're looking at. I attended the community development block grant reorganization meeting. The borough engineer and I and the public works superintendent, we met and discussed all the options with the Sun Harbor Park bid that the mayor had mentioned before. And the mayor mentioned about the IBAC sewer project, and we also have a Safe Routes School, the grant we got a couple of years ago. We finally have a kickoff meeting for that scheduled tomorrow. So I can report further on that at the next meeting. Pretty much what I have.
Bennett, do you have a report for us today?
Well, Mayor, I think you did a lot of the heavy lifting for me in your report. The only thing I would really add is the improvements to South Bay and Hillside Avenue. That project is our 2022 DOT funded project. We received approval from DOT for our plans. They authorized us to go out to bid on that project. So if the council is all for it, then we'll move forward with that.
Excellent. Outstanding.
And I think you touched on everything else I wanted to talk about.
Well, I'm sure if you have more in-depth update, I'm sure everyone will.
Let's see. Nope, that's it.
Okay. Does anyone have anything else before I open? I do. What, go right ahead.
Just real quick about the green team, being involved in organizing the first meeting of the year and getting in touch with the people that are on the list. So that should be third week of March.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, then I'll open it to the public for comments.
Individuals wishing to address the council may be recognized by the presiding officer and shall give their name, address, and the group if any they represent. Although the council encourages public participation and reserves the right through its presiding officer to terminate remarks to and/or by any individual not interfering with the conduct of a proper and efficient meeting. If any individuals refuses to conduct themselves in a proper manner, they will be removed from the meeting. The council will not, during the public portion of this meeting, discuss matters involving employment, appointment, termination of employment, negotiations, terms and conditions of employment, evaluation of the performance of, promotion, or discipline of any specific or prospective or current employee. There is a 3-minute limit for your comments. Please give your name and spell out if necessary and address.
While we're doing these 2 things that I have, I was looking over the bills that you guys paid, and it looks to me as if you paid $40,000 a quarter for the building department that we use, the inspection that we use with Middletown. 48. So that's like, over $200,000 a year. When are we going to bring it back to us? Because we certainly could put it here and have, we have enough money to hire 2 people with that.
The problem we have right now is we don't have the room. And we had looked at this last year, but the terms of the contract, it should be done around the time that the new building is ready to come in, and we want to bring it back in.
So it'll be 2 years.
Maybe, yeah.
That's a lot of money. I was just thinking, you can't like find a space somewhere. Geez. All right. And then the second question is, you guys are pushing through the redevelopment plan back to the land use board, and I really didn't see the parking was addressed that well. And they also, when they use the little pictures for how tall these buildings are, they're using 10 and 11 foot space for floors. And nobody's doing an 11-foot floor. So even though it looks like maybe they're going to do 4 or 5, 4 stories, it's going to end up being 5, because you're not limiting them by the stories, you're limiting it by the height. So they can cram in a lot of stuff in there, and when you add up the bonus money that you're giving them, there's a lot of stuff that's going to go in that 40 feet plus the 44 in the other zones. So I looked at his pictures, it looks to me as if they're just trying to make it justify the fact that it's still going to be high. And they showed little buildings, and the buildings that they're showing that are out there are 2 floors and a roof with the bottom. And they're talking about grade level, but it doesn't really make a difference because you still have to go above. You have to be 12 feet plus 1 above the flood zone. So I think that what they're showing is a little bit deceptive, and it just doesn't make sense to me that we're still going to go this high. And if you're going to go that high and there's going to be all these new apartments and new people moving in, where are they parking? I really don't see the parking was addressed. They allowed it so that apartments can, instead of 1 bedroom having 2 spaces, now it's 2 bedrooms can have 2 spaces. They increased the number so that it didn't make sense that we're really going to have parking for all these people. And I hope that that was considered when you guys decided to send it back to the land use, because it came back here so that it was fixed, and it looked like they just put a little bit of it. Because, that's my other question. I realize that they're planning in real estate, these people are actually planning in real estate, but is there anything legally that they can't be involved with any of the developers and their real estate part? They're real estate people. How do you know they're not working with some of the developers to make it to their advantage? Is there some kind, I mean, who knows? Right?
I'm not sure I understand the last one. I can address the others, and then perhaps we can talk about
The
that.
planning group is planning and real estate company. It says it on the front page of everything they do. They're planners and real estate.
As far as ethical concerns,
Yes.
goes, anyone working with you is now bound by the local government ethics law, so they wouldn't be allowed to have a conflict.
Okay, so they wouldn't be allowed to have, And,
Yes, so, I hope that you come to the next land use meeting, and, because the plan has been really embellished with a lot of graphics that will far more clearly explain
yes,
the height. And I agree with you that it was hard to figure because it was just sort of boxes and what did that mean. And it's important to not every piece of land in Highlands is going to need 12 feet before it can build. Highlands has different grades, and you go from how far above the flood level we already are in some places. There are areas on Bay Avenue, I believe, that are 8 feet above to begin with. So that's 4 feet. That changes some of the parameters. I think also to be clear that you can't have the buildings that you're talking about everywhere. We're talking about the higher buildings to be on shore and on Second. Now, over there on shore, we were looking around today, there are, some of those are at 12 feet already above sea level. So, you're not starting at where it is, adding 12 and then
no, I
going from there.
understand that, because I'm up 12 feet too, and I understand it, but to go 40 feet above that 12 feet, makes it really high. And right now, we've got, the majority of the residential units on Bay Ave were originally 30, they upped it to 34 when they made Bay Avenue part of the business district, and now it's gonna be 40, so you're adding a good 2 stories to what
you've already got, didn't you? You can't assume that every cost is going to be like that. You know that the development pieces, and all the developers that have bought up all the land. The other problem I have is just 80% coverage. We don't have 80% coverage now. We have like 30, 40, much less now. And they're going to just be covering all that land, giving all that building, which doesn't make sense to me. Not if you're going to have residential.
Probably we can stay as we are and watch our taxes rise because there are costs we can't control that are involved everywhere. So we can stay as we are. And I was thinking about this the other day and I thought, there's a lot of things I'd like to be able to buy in town. And if I can walk down the hill and walk in or come down and park and walk in and what I want is there, does it matter how high the building is?
Yes, it does. Because I'm for redevelopment. I think that we need to build up this town, but we need to do it in a way that all the buildings don't look like the Brewery in Atlantic Highlands, that don't look like the middle of Red Bank. We need to have it in a way that's going to be appropriate to the feel of this town.
Yes, and we don't have the
Contractors that have bought lots of land. So one of those bodies whole on that side of town. And you got Little John buying the middle over there. And you've got, Charlie, the roof. Everybody's bought land. They've been importing it and buying it. And now they're gonna just make all this stuff and incorporate stuff and make these giant buildings. And 80% of the land can be built. And I think that we're gonna regret it. I really do. I think that it's gonna lose the charms, that we have now. And I think that somebody needs to look at this. Because if you look around the town and look at the buildings that are high now, the new buildings that they're gonna allow will be higher than any of the highest buildings here in town.
And that very well may be, but they're not going to be connected. We don't have a piece of land on Bay Avenue that's big enough for the beer building to be there.
And the lot beside the liquor store, between the liquor store and Lusty Lobster, that's a big plot. And it's across the street too. There's a lot of big plots of land. It's a plot of land that's on Bay Avenue beside of Cedar Street. The little old lady lives in the middle. She always comes to these. We're gonna buy her spot and take all that. It's gonna happen. And I'm for redevelopment, but I'm not for the hype. We don't need the hype. And I heard the developers say, well, why do you want to do redevelopment if you're not going to go high? And I don't think that that's how it has to be done. I don't think that a lot of places have had redevelopment where they didn't have to put big giant tall buildings in a small little town. We're a small town. We're not a big town. We're not even as big as Atlanta.
But I would suggest that you read again through the new development plan. And no, it hasn't started yet.
The one dated February 28th.
No, there's a new one coming out.
That's the one that's dated February 28th with the little pictures of the buildings. Dated February 28th, it's the other day. It's part of the website. It's part of the minutes. Okay. I saw it and I read it and I saw the little houses and there's 11 feet. That's talking about 11 feet stores. And that's not going to happen. They're going to be 8 or 9 and they're going to shove more floors up to that 44 feet in the taller area.
That's something to wait and see.
Wait and see, but why do we have to wait and see? Because it's going to look like crap. Can't we do something beforehand? That's all I'm saying. I think that a lot of people in this town were worried about the height, and I don't think that this is really addressing this. And I also know that you were in favor of just putting it through without bringing it back to the borough. You approved the original plan.
What I objected to was not digging further would be to check out the height. And that's what he has done, and sent back.
Yeah, but I don't know that we went anywhere further, and I don't know that the parking is addressed at all. Parking is a big piece
That's for
of it.
another night.
Chris Francie, 36 Fifth Street. Just a quick question. You approved the engineering bill relative to the skate park. It's some $40,000? The plans, all right? Yet, we can't build those plans. The engineer's estimate was bids came in too high?
Well, different plans, there's,
It's not public park, and then it's a state park.
yeah,
Two different.
there's the basketball court, tennis court project, those bids came in too high, that's why we rejected those bids. The skate park is separate, funding.
And that's not the, engineering bill you approved for the skate park.
The skate park is separate.
I stand corrected, thank you. I stand corrected, thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your time. Steve Solid, 205 Bay Avenue. Joanne, can you tell me why the redevelopment plan went back to the land use board?
It's going back to.
Yeah, can you tell me why?
Because, I don't know if you were at the meeting, but there were people who said that they looked at the 2009 master plan,
Right.
and that's how they were making their judgment. 2009 is before 10, is before the flood.
Yeah, we put a lot of time into the master plan, okay, so to me, when you have, and we know that there's speculators, not investors, but speculators pushing this through, and insiders, okay, that have a vested interest, that have a vested who's sitting on council, there's one in the audience over here. Yeah, I'm pointing to your involvement, okay? I wanna know why it's not a done deal.
Why, what isn't it done?
When it's set back, because of the parking, and because of the heights, okay, we did a survey, all right? And the people in town do not want the heights. I don't think there's pushback as far as these developments, but I think there's a pushback as far as the heights. So, for the council, send it back there, and send it back there. Are we gonna keep something, my parents used to do these complicated calculus problems. And I used to sit there and I used to do them, come back when it's right, come back when it's right, come back when it's right, it's wrong. So is that what we're gonna do? We're gonna keep sending it back to them, and then it's gonna come back to here, and then it's gonna go back to there.
May I answer?
It's like an incredible waste of time.
I can. The packet that they had, the redevelopment plan that they had did not include the pictures and the clear-cut explanation of the heights. It's far clearer in the new. They need to look at that to make a decision, and they need to compare to the 2016 master plan, not the 2009.
Here's the
Let's
point,
see.
if that was a problem at the onset, then why did we go any further? Why didn't we just go back to the master plan and take a look and correct it?
That's what we're asking them to do.
Okay, but that's something that we could have done in meetings on our own, rather than having sure, that's how we did it the first time. That's how we did it. We had meetings, we sat down and we brainstormed.
Are you on the lane? Are you on the lane?
No, we had meetings, they had meetings.
Well, the official process goes back to the land use board.
Now, I know you live up on the hill, and, it's very nice and quiet there, but my wife and I happen to own a building on the main grade, okay? And they bought the place across the street, so I'm potentially looking at 5 stories plus mechanics on top. Okay, and that's just me. I'm not speaking for my neighbors, but I'm sure that they feel the same. You say no, but, there's so much that should have been done, as far as flooding, as far as the parking. I mean, there's days that I think my toilet's gonna flush itself. I mean, this is,
There are a lot of
this
plans.
is a problem, a major problem. I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
But you are.
But this is my investment, okay?
And this is mine. I live
No,
here
yours
too.
is up on the hill.
But this is my town. I might be downtown more than you are.
You know what?
This is my town
You
too.
know what, Joanne?
And I live here. Mr. South, please,
Thank you.
Seeing no one else up for public comments, I will motion to adjourn. No, she was thinking about it. Go right ahead.
Sarah White, 18 Central Ave. I want to go back to the games, the board games in the park. Can you explain that a little bit to me? I mean, if we're playing checkers, and there's checkers and pieces to move,
There won't be pieces to move.
A cord
You bring your own bags, you would bring your own pieces. It's just a nice way to be out in the open air and playing a nice game with
All
your
right, I
family.
was just seeing pieces.
No pieces. No pieces longer. Yep. Okay, thank you, Jared. And with that, our motion to adjourn. Oh, right, close up the portion.
Next, we have executive session. Executive session will be held following the regular council meeting. Prior to each executive session, the Borough Council will convene an open session at which time a resolution will be adopted in accordance with NJSA 10:4-13. No formal action will be taken during executive session. Be it resolved that the following portion of this meeting shall not be open to the public. Be it further resolved that private consideration is deemed required and is permitted because of the following noted exceptions set forth in the Act. Be it further resolved that it is anticipated that the matters to be considered in private may be disclosed to the public at a later date when the need for privacy no longer exists. First, matter of personnel, CPA grievance. Second, attorney-client privilege, ABC matter. Third, attorney-client privilege, flood damage prevention ordinance.
I'll make that motion.
Second. Councilmember Shesky? Councilmember Savanter? Councilmember Chalik? Yes. Councilmember Malik?
Yes.
Council President Shesky? Yes. Mayor Brian?
Yes.
Motion carries to enter into executive session.
Thanks for coming out, everyone. Have a good night. Okay, do I have to offer it? I'll offer to go back into the public portion or back into whatever, the regular meeting?
It is 8:03, we're returning back to regular session. And do we have a motion?
I'll offer it, and I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned at 8:03. Thank you, everyone.